So, for everybody listening, this is Chef Grace's Place podcast. And today we have the Humble Bubble Chef, which is Carlene Chi, a
Woo!
longtime friend of mine. Tell me a little, you just started the Humble Bubble Chef, but you've been involved with food, just as long as I have since we were in high school, maybe even before.
Oh, good times, good times,
Good times.
good times. So I started this partially because I had a crippling depression episode and I needed something to focus all that angst because I had just lost my job. My dog got sick, my parents left the country, and like things were just like falling apart in my life. And I was like, no, I need something positive to look forward to. But also for years, people have been saying, like, you really need to start a blog. You really need to start a blog. So after like 7 years of people badgering me, I was like, fine, here, Instagram, enjoy, follow, please.
I'm
Appreciate it.
glad my badgering worked.
Yes, the badgering did work. Thank you. You were one of the very first badgering folks. But yeah, no, it just kind of fell into it, and now it's just like my cute little project. And basically what I want to focus on is, just because you have a lot of dumb allergies doesn't mean you can't enjoy good food. You just got to be careful. So
Right. And allergies are hard because I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand the difference between people are just gluten-free is probably like the best example because there are people that are actually celiacs and then there are just a bunch of assholes, right? You get like the I'll never
yeah,
forget like
yeah,
desserts and stuff at Barclay Prime and we would our our bread service bread were these popovers. They have bread flour, like high gluten flour in them. These people would eat that and then have the audacity to order like gluten-free dessert.
and you're like, you just ate things with, like, no, I had somebody that I met, and they had like a double bacon cheeseburger, and then they're like, does your fries have gluten? I'm like, who are you? Like, you just ate bread. Yeah, no. Especially with me, people think I'm really making it up. It's really frustrating. And the two of the actually no, the most difficult one for me to convince people that I have, because people have tried doing this and it's horrible, is alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I became allergic to alcohol in 2015. Long story short, was at a beautiful rum bar called Cuba Libre on D Street in DC back when I was in grad school. Highly recommend their mojitos were delicious from what I remember. But had like a quarter of my drink and I ended up in the bathroom almost blacking out, and I don't remember the rest of the evening. And I had a full meal. I did the Tums. I ate all the starchy, crappy food that you're supposed to have beforehand. Like, I did everything right, and I had to almost be carried out of the bathroom, and I was not in a good state. And after that, it was just I was done. And yeah, people to this day do not believe me. And it got really awkward, especially after I got married, because they're like, "Are you sure you're just not pregnant?" And I'm like, "No, I'm really allergic to alcohol. Why do you think I would make this up? I would probably tell you if that was the case." Or it's even worse. They're like, "Oh my God, congratulations on your sobriety. I'm so glad you got that handle."
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm like,
I
this.
mean,
No. I've had people actually try slipping me alcoholic beverages, which is horrible.
that is horrible.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Because also like you're allergic, but also what if you were sober?
Yeah, like,
Either
what?
way, don't drug people. Not good. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
I've seen you you definitely get the I remember when you came over when I lived in Philly, we had
Yeah.
that goat leg and you had a little bit of wine and your face just turned like bright red, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing too, because like the whole Asian flush thing, I'm pretty sure there's a very scientific term for it. But mine is a
Yeah.
far more severe Asian flush thing, where instead of it just going to my face and making me like pink and whatever, it actually goes right to my heart, my lungs, and I start having problem breathing. So I'm like, I'm gonna cut the alcohol out of my diet. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
It's better for you too. I mean, I've been trying to cut ever since I watched that that podcast, my boy Andrew Huberman. I'm always watching his stuff. And he did this like deep dive into alcohol. And basically what it like turned out was like 2 drinks per week, you're probably okay, but you really shouldn't like just drink it all. And I was just like, man. I mean, I don't even drink that much to begin with, but like I was like 2 drinks a week, like most people have like when they go drink like at night, if they have, even if you have like wine with your dinner, you have 2 glasses of wine.
Or like beer. Like my
Or
husband threw 3 glasses of like whatever lagers on hand. Easy.
easy. So I was just, and now that we're celebrating,
Congratulations. Oh my God. I cheered, I screamed, and then my husband rushed in thinking I had broke something. So I was just and he's like, oh, cool. So my husband also says, congratulations. We're very happy for the both of you. Hopefully, if you're in the state, we can celebrate.
yeah, yeah. I think we're probably gonna get married up in New Jersey, but we'll see. So
Yeah.
probably
Yay.
not for a while, you know.
Take your time. As someone who just went through the process, just take your time, enjoy the engagement, because as soon as the planning happens, everything just goes to hell in a handbasket. Then you'll never be able to go through a normal, regular human conversation without being like, oh my God, what's a big day? Oh my God, have you found your dress? Oh my God, who are your bridesmaids? And it was cool for the first 2 months. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to talk about my wedding anymore. Thank you. I still had a fun time though. Had a great time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was all good. So, I mean, I just want to like bring it back to just the Huggins classes. Remember all the times we had to stay at school like hella late?
Yes.
I
It
got
was,
in trouble so many times because we would be leaving at like 11 o'clock.
yeah, and you were not allowed to stay out that late.
Yeah, that didn't change much. My curfew existed until I basically moved out of my house. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah.
I had a predetermined reason for it. So that didn't change literally. I moved out. But no, it was like a really fun time. And it was crazy. Everyone who has known me from then, they're like, why didn't you ever go to culinary school? And I'm like, I couldn't afford it. How much is tuition nowadays?
Oh my God, it's so expensive. I got it like I got into all of the culinary schools, and it was and at the time like they didn't like provide scholarships or anything. So because it wasn't as like big, like it wasn't as cool or whatever as it is now.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think I remember specifically like asking for financial aid and they kind of laughed at me. They're like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, they're like for culinary school, and I was just like I
Yeah.
remember I tried to. I think my education wound up being like $100,000, maybe more.
Oh, that's like basically like half a law school or half a medical school.
Yeah, and it was like, for a job that starts out at like $15 an hour. You know what I mean? And they're like
Yeah.
to work your way up. And I think for pastry school, it's worth it. But I think if I were to do it all over again, my mom was so hell bent on me getting a bachelor's degree,
Hmm.
which like didn't matter really.
And things.
And yeah, and in the case of I should have just went to the what is now like it's all about connections. Like I should have just went to it used to be called the French Culinary Institute, but I think it's like International Culinary Center or something now.
Ah,
But it has, like all the like Jacques Torres teaches there, like all of the big
yeah.
names teach there. And it's like if you want to succeed, you have to be a part of that world.
Yeah. And just even then, like I also said, like, do you realize that chefs have no personal life or it's like next to impossible to have a personal life? You're always working every holiday. You're pretty much waking up at the butt crack of dawn. You're not getting home until, God knows whatever time at night. You're
That
working.
seems to be every job that I like doing, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's fair. And for me, that was something I wasn't willing to compromise on because I was like, I need to protect my mental health. I need to have a life.
Yeah, but it's just also they don't they expect like you're expected to like sacrifice your whole life, you know? And when you work in a restaurant, like the interesting one part when I changed from being a chef to a flight attendant was that like I could like call out.
Yeah.
Like like if I was sick, like it's still like, frowned upon, but you don't even like if you don't work as a cook, like you don't understand, like you can't call out because they always run on a skeleton crew to keep the cost as down as possible. And if you
Hmm.
call out, then it's not like there's someone like in the flight attendant world, there's standby. So you're on standby, but like that's your job is to get called if maybe like if someone calls out and you go in. But in the kitchen, there's nobody on standby. You have to either everyone else has to pick up the slack because you're out, which they might not even know how to do your job, especially if you're, like your pastry or something like specialized, or the person whose day off it is has to come in. So it's like you're
Yeah.
fucking somebody over no matter what.
Yeah, and it just sucks too because also the quality goes down because you're not on your A game. You're also going to get all your coworkers sick. It's like literally you could have like a broken arm and your foot could be falling apart and you could have the bubonic plague and they'll be like, "Nah, you still got to come in."
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's one thing that it really needs to change in that industry, but you
Yeah,
know.
actually, I don't know if you saw it. There was actually a really good article, I think on the New York Times or one of the big food magazines online, and they interviewed like a bunch of people, including like David Chang and some of the like big people names, like I think even the co-founder of like um Milk and other stuff, and they were talking about like what has changed in the past 10 years, what needs to change in order to, have a thriving, um, culinary arts scene and to have that, stability. And people were like, benefits, paid time off, better wages overall, better work-life balance. Because they're worried that in the next, like, 5 to 10 years, because people now know how much work goes into it, they're afraid that there's going to be a shortage of people because nobody wants to sacrifice that for that. Like, people could get other jobs and not have to sacrifice, their kid's birthday party or, have to show up sick when, they have issues, things like that. But so very I'll have to see if I can find you the link. It was actually very insightful, but at the same time it was all by like these people who own like Michelin star restaurants. I'm like, all right, buddy.
Yeah, but even the Michelin star restaurants, how much of their work is staging, right? It's volunteer labor because you want that on your resume.
Yeah, yeah. I heard like underpayment has always been a problem, especially like at the top of the top. And I'm like, you're working like 60-hour weeks and you're getting paid like a college intern or not even like a college intern anymore. You're just there because of the experience and the exposure.
Yeah, and I mean, even, when I was working in Philly, Steven Starr got a class action lawsuit against him and he did this, where I worked too, like, it was like, the French mentality where like if you like they would give us all this like prep work to be done, right? But if you couldn't get it done in the allotted time, like at your shift, like you're
Yeah.
supposed to come in at like 3, service starts at 4, but the amount of work they gave you, you had to come in at like 10 a.m. to get it
Jeez.
done. So you wouldn't get paid from 10 to 3, and then you weren't allowed to clock in till 3, and then you wouldn't get out till like midnight or whatever.
Yeah, that's like wild to me. But since you're a flight attendant, let me ask you this. I know like this is supposed to be your food blog, but I was very curious about this. Is it true that you guys don't start getting paid until the doors actually close and you like pull away from the gate?
Yeah.
Somebody on said that, like,
a
yeah, we
hundred
don't get
percent.
while you're sitting there because there's a delay. We don't get paid until the plane starts moving and leaving.
Yeah, so especially
Really?
if you, yeah, so if you go in, especially if you're, so I'm Miami based, so I
Mm.
don't get paid 1 cent until I'm on the plane, and then the door is closed and the plane pushes back. So it's block in to block out. So there's these things called blocks that go around the tire of the airplane to like make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So when they put the blocks in, that's when the trip is over, and when they take the blocks out, that's when it starts. So push back, they took the blocks out and the plane's pushing back
Hmm.
in your base. That's when you start getting paid. So then you have, when you push back, depending on the airline, right? Depending on um like most airlines in America, they have a rate for domestic per diem and international per diem. So
Yeah.
it's probably like it's a few dollars. It's like, $2 or $2 or $3 an hour for per diem. International's usually more. And then we only get paid our hourly rate when the plane is in the air. So like not when it's in there, but block in and block out. So you push back, your hourly rate starts, which isn't that much. So say the flight is 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like my flights are 10 hours, but that's not a good example because if you're a flight attendant in America, it's probably like 4 hours. And
Yeah.
this is why I really didn't like working at Spirit compared to working where at Norse now, because Norse is all international. So the flight is like 10 hours and then you're done. And it's
Hmm.
like you get to rest. But the flight attendants that are working those shorter flights, because of the way the like fatigue regulations are, they'll work 4 hours and then they get, then they stop for like an hour or a few hours and they have to fly again. And they'll do that to them for like, 3, 4 hour flights or something. So they're working like they're up for over 24 hours.
Yeah, that just is not good for.
Yeah, that's not good for anybody. And it's like the FAA is understaffed. They don't have time to like go through like complaints or anything. And honestly, they don't really care. They're in bed with these airlines. Like it's a revolving door, just like, the FDA or whatever. So, if the unions don't have as much power as like they used to back in the day, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get anything done. Like they just won for like the longest time in America, the pilots had a minimum of 10-hour rests and flight attendants only had 8 hours. And rest doesn't mean like in the hotel. Rest means like check in at the airport to check out at the airport.
Oh,
Right.
that's, but like, what if your hotel's like 2 hours away because you're in some weird city that has nothing?
Exactly. Exactly. One
Oh,
time
that's hard.
I got left in Orlando airport overnight by Spirit because you'll call them and they just take forever to even find a solution. And by the time they find a solution, it's not worth the time to go to the hotel and go back. So you slept on a recliner for 2 hours in the crew room. Like it's terrible.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And
So we both
the
agree.
shit. It
We
was
could both airlines, restaurant industry, unionize, get some
well,
work-life
the
balance.
airlines are unionized. That's the thing. Most of them, except like Delta.
I was about to say, I think you guys are, except for Delta.
Yeah. But Delta benefits, they don't understand it if because they're not unionized. But basically, because all the airlines are unionized, Delta always has to compete with the unionized contracts. So
Hmm.
if nobody was unionized, then it would be bad for everyone, including Delta. But because Delta has to say, oh, well, they could go try to fly at United or American. They have to
Yeah.
keep the contract a little bit better. So
Yeah. But still, but I'm glad you're in a much better spot because, yeah, being in the restaurant industry it's a grind.
yeah, I mean both are grinds, but I think this is I get to work on Chef Grace's place and like actually have some time to do things that I want to do. Whereas the restaurant industry, you're like creating, if you don't own your own restaurant, you're just, a lot of times you're just creating for somebody else's profit, you know?
Yeah.
And even if you have a good idea, like you're gonna take it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's also the problem is too is, I don't know about you, I don't know about where you are, but rent in New Jersey is out of control for a brick and mortar restaurant. Like, most people that even wanna open a restaurant, they can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford it. I mean, rent in general, even for an apartment, is ridiculous. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, why do you think we ended up buying a house? Because when, Ryan and I were first discussing moving in, I was like, "Why don't we just start with an apartment, start small, make sure we like each other and won't kill each other after like 6 months." But then we started looking in Parsippany or like in other areas, and it was like 26, 2,700 for a two-bedroom apartment with like nothing. And he wanted a garage. And I'm like, we're not getting that. So we ended up finding our house and we're paying, oh my God, like 2,100 for a full
For
three
a house.
bedroom. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a house with a lot and a garage.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have, I think in an ideal world, if I had like oodles and doodles of money, I would love to open a restaurant. But for now, it's just like, I don't know. And I also was trying to look into the cottage license here in New Jersey to start like selling food out.
Yeah, I
There,
don't, it's a cottage law. It's not a license. You can basically just make baked goods from your house. You're good.
no, you can in New Jersey, you actually pay money and you get like a cute little certificate now. It's
Oh,
license. But the problem is I would have failed mine because I don't know if you can notice here, my kitchen is open and is accessible to my dogs. And that would have been a fail. But I'm like, I asked them point blank, I was like, how many houses do you think have a closed off kitchen nowadays? Like, I don't know if you've seen the trend in the last 10 years, but open concept homes are a real that's what most people's houses are. So how are these people keeping their dogs and their children out of an open concept kitchen? And they couldn't answer me that. And I was like, all right, cool. So that was also, I think it's like $500 or something to that effect to get the paperwork done.
yeah. I mean, it just sounds like they want money.
Of course, it's a
You
bureau.
could just be like, "Oh, I'll put my dogs in the other room. I have a gate." Like,
Yeah. And if I wanted to sell kimchi, which by the way, I nailed, I have a kimchi recipe now. So I know how to make kimchi and I ferment and it's fantastic. I apparently need an entirely separate license.
that makes sense. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be,
So it's either now, later down the line. It's like I think most likely if I was going to ever sell food, it probably would be, oh, God, what is it called when you rent out a kitchen from a restaurant that's like closed on days?
like
Like there's like,
a ghost kitchen or a commissary kitchen.
yeah, yep. But that's later down the line. First off, I need to like actually get to like, I don't know, like 200 people on my Instagram because we're itty bitty. We're
Yeah,
just
I mean,
thing.
like it comes with time, and also like if you want to speed it up, you just get some advertising. That's the other thing. I feel like
Yeah.
the check mark thing helps too, like push your posts.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, "Oh, she verified. She
Yeah,
fan."
I was like, let's just try this out because you know you gotta you gotta invest. If you can make the best content, but if nobody knows you're there, then what's the point?
Like,
You know,
ex
they also
exactly.
feel like going viral is, if you have good content, you'll go viral. But the thing is, like, people might make similar content to you that is just as good. Like, if you're like, if you're neck and neck, if you're the same, there's
Yeah.
plenty of that. And then, one gets picked over the other. but I'm finding like, um, probably the one of the things that changed for me is I started using the vidIQ stuff,
Okay.
and that's helped me a lot with like coming up in search. Yeah.
Mm.
And that I went from like 1900 to like 4,000 and change in like 2 or 3 months.
Oh, I might
Um,
have to ask that later when we're like not recording your uber cool podcast.
I mean, I'm sure people listening, they want to know sometimes, but I try not to get too technical on that because if you're not doing your own channel, then it's,
You're like,
they got other channels for that, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, you could always go to another channel for actual how to grow your
Your
info,
stuff. Yeah.
you know.
And I'm not.
Yeah, no. I've also been very lucky because my sister is somewhat of an influencer. She actually makes money off of her stuff, which is fantastic.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much. She assures me it's not much. She'd be buying a mansion if she had the opportunity. But she's actually an aquarium enthusiast. She actually has like a coral reef tank. She has like 7 tanks in her basement, and it's like really fun to go to her house because I just watch the fish on a couch with a blanket eating stuff.
That's so cool. You could have a sushi video. Have those tanks in
Oh
the
no, no. I think my sister would cry.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny though.
Wait, of that, did you hear about the Austrian chef that got in trouble like a couple of weeks ago?
No.
So he got called on to like an Austrian like daytime program thing. And it was so last minute. He called his friend who's like apparently like a licensed fisherman, being like, "Hey dude, I'm on the show in like 2 days. Can you or like next day, can you just get me some fish? Because I'm gonna make some like fish fritters or some crap." Yeah, Ding Dong did not check the fish. It turns out he cooked an endangered, near extinction species of fish on Austrian national television. And I think everybody got fined.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it says it's been near extinction since 2013, and it's been on the endangered list since then due to climate change and construction on the river there that they inhabit.
Oh my god. What kind of
Yeah,
fish is that? You know?
it's like a small little like carp looking thing. It's a German name. I'm not going to be sacrilegious or torture your followers' ears by me attempting to pronounce it, but it's like a little tiny fish, like yay big. And the best part is they kept the recipe online, except they said use fish from a fisherman you can trust.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, y'all didn't check that, huh? And the chef was swearing up and down. He's like, by the time the fish got to me, it was already like processed. I couldn't tell what the meat was. And we're like, really? Couldn't tell, huh? Okay, cool. All right. Somebody screwed up there, but it was funny that you brought up fish. That's why I was like, wait. I just thought it was funny. It's like, how do you cook an endangered species on national television?
Man.
Yeah, they all got fined because also the Austrian government doesn't find it funny when you cook endangered species.
They don't find a lot of things funny. Serious people over there.
Yeah, no, they're very from what I understand the culture to be, it's very like they're very rule abiding. So the fact that somebody cooked a critically endangered species on TV is pretty bad.
Yeah. So what's your latest project on your blog?
So ongoing, and I do admit I have so I started this blog not thinking much of it, and then I got a new job. So then the new job training kind of like overtook the cooking blog. So I've been kind of struggling on consistency, but the one thing I've been trying to do consistently are post Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Thursdays is the family dinner series.
Okay.
That and that started during the heights of COVID where we technically weren't supposed to be seeing each other, but It was basically a bunch of my friends who all got laid off right around the same time I did because everybody got laid off during COVID. And I was like, have you left your apartment in 3 weeks? No. Have you left your apartment? So we all ended up coming to the house and we ended up creating our own little, like, I guess, social bubble. I guess that's what they're calling it now. And I started making like these like cute little family meals just to preserve some sort of, sense of community because we were all just, I mean, I'm sure everybody was, but it was just really depressing to be alone, to be isolated for the first time, like ever. And so eventually from that, it became like a rolling series. And now Thursday Family Dinners is officially entering its, yeah, fourth year.
That's
Come
awesome.
this, yeah. So it's been a nice thing. And we have a rotating cast of friends and family that come in. And I'll make whatever I feel like and whatever is also on sale at ShopRite.
Yeah.
That's what, because I know you've noticed the price of beef and basically any protein has gone up considerably.
Yeah, I am lucky that maybe during the pandemic, a little bit before the pandemic, I started doing Butcher Box. So
Mm,
their price, like it went up a little bit, but luckily when I started, they were kind of new. So I got like bacon for life and ground beef for life.
I
But it's just I look at the prices in the grocery store and I'm like, thank God I did this because if I was trying to buy this meat at the grocery store, it would cost me so much more money because it's this meat is also like, like grass-fed, organic, all that stuff.
ooh.
So it's like 180 a month, but I know exactly what I'm getting. That helps me plan my meals out better.
Yep.
And a lot of times I actually like order it by weight. Like I think, okay, the pork shoulder is like 5 to 10 pounds. This is, how many pounds of meat can I get for my $180, right? So
Mm.
usually we can get, like if I can get more than 10 pounds, which I usually can, it's worth it because it's like 15 pounds, $15 a pound for like a good quality meat at the store now.
Yeah, yeah, no, even by me, like, T-bone steaks, like, on sale is 7.99 a pound, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's"
on sale. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
like you don't even know where's that T-bone, where's that cow come from?
Yeah, yeah, that too. I mean, thank God for the Thursday night family dinners. I try to be reasonable. I mean, okay, not gonna lie, I've had some very wildly, outlandishly lavish meals. One of them being actually, no, Chinese New Year. So I recently did a post on Lunar New Year, and I made like oh God, like a 7-dish spread. Like I
Wow.
actually recorded of work because I made like Buddha's delight. I had friends like wrapping wontons because I was running out of time. I even made my grandpa's lo mein recipe for the first time on my own, so that was really awesome. I think
I had that.
yeah, you've had the bunset.
Oh, it was so good. I remember that.
So much bad stuff in it and it has so much salt, but it's fine. It's Lunar New Year, you can go out. Yeah, no, but that actually didn't cost me that much because I had shopped strategically, but also I shopped at like the Asian grocery store, which is still immensely cheaper
Yeah.
than, and also like depending on which one you go to, the meat quality is excellent.
Yeah, that's like down here. There's a few Asian markets that are okay, but we mainly go to like the Latin markets. It's
Mm,
it's whatever the population is. So there's like a ton of Cubans over here. So it's mostly Latin.
yeah,
But
I mean that really good stuff. Ugh, I really want mofongo now. I'm really hungry now.
oh man, they don't really have mofongo. The Cubans don't really eat mofongo down
Uh,
here. That's more Puerto Rican Dominican. But
uh,
yeah.
I can't here because we are. You know what? Probably could because two towns over is like a heavily now, but they're like El Salvadorian, like central,
Yeah.
Central
Or that,
America.
the cheap. It's the best place to get like limes and stuff because it's the cheapest. But yeah, I wish
Yeah.
we had a better Asian market here, honestly.
Really, I'm surprised H Mart hasn't made its presence known in Florida.
Not really. There's some there's like some Vietnamese people and there's some like Japanese a little bit, but not a lot of like anything else really. And at
Mm,
least in my area, there's pockets. Florida's very big.
yes, Florida it is very big.
Yeah.
So, but there's always an Asian market somewhere. I have my brother-in-law's living in Minnesota, and he even found like a little mom and pop Asian store in the middle of
Yeah, they
like
have like the mom and pop stuff, but it's so like small that it's actually like more expensive. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, they're taking advantage of the fact they're like, we're the only fuckers in this area.
But I
So
think it's just harder for them to buy, like get the stuff in because there's not
yeah,
a bigger demand for it, you know?
yeah, yeah, that's true too. But I also do appreciate that there are more Asian online groceries now. So I get a lot of my stuff there. There's quite a few that are just Filipino centric, and then there's one that's literally called We with like five E's and an exclamation point, I think. And it does like Indian, Korean, Vietnamese, Filipino, and Chinese and Japanese like groceries.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, and by the way, I have a referral code.
Put that in the description.
Yeah, I'll be like, well, okay, so we need Butcher Box to sponsor you. We
Yeah,
need we and all my Asian marketplace to sponsor me, and we'd be great.
that'd be great. I'll throw in some athletic greens there and call it a day.
Oh, the dream, the hope.
Dream, I hope.
And then I'm also starting to work on some recipes. So for the longest time, everyone has asked. Also, I don't know if people really understand how much work actually goes into creating an entire food blog from conception of the recipe to trying out all the different variations, getting your ingredients, measurements, methodologies correct. I apologize. That's my phone being like, hey, you're also low on battery. And I'm like, oh crap, don't do that. I charged this thing to 80%. I don't know what happened. My phone's old, but yeah, so finally I started developing my own recipes. So far I have wontons, and I'm also trying to actually articulate my grandfather's lo mein recipe into actual measurable things. Cause you know how it is with the with like our parents and our grandparents cooking. It's like a, this much, or it's like a thumbful. I'm like, what is this?
Who's dumb?
Yeah, who's them? Like, fun fact, there's a Filipino measurement. It's literally using somebody's hand. And I'm like, how is that accurate? Literally, like, this would be a measurement. And I'm like, what happens if somebody else just starts measuring it with their hands and their hands are like five times the size of mine? Like,
I
it's
guess
just
as long as it's not you use the same hand for the whole recipe, you'd be
yeah,
okay. Because it
yeah,
would be the same thing, you know what I mean? But you can't
yeah.
do it in the same. But then, like if Noelle makes it, there'll just be more of it. If I make it, it'll be a smaller portion.
Oh yeah, yeah, he has massive paws. I do remember that. I was like, dang, all right, all right. So I'm because here's the thing, like people ask me all the time, like, how did you make this? I'm like, I don't know. The very common thing I say is I season until my ancestors say stop. Or like, are you familiar with Uncle Roger by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, season the right way, not the white way.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's kind of how it is. So I'm trying to like get some recipes down. I'm also thinking about maybe actually starting my own little voiceover series on different kitchen like tools, because I've also been finding like a lot of people, for example, this thing will have like five different names in people's houses. Like it could be a spatula. Some people have actually called it a turner, and I'm like, no, it's not a turner. And then people get like weird about it. So I actually wanted to start like an actual informative, like short, like 2 minute, you know, thing that says like, here is this tool. This is what it's meant for, kind
I
of just
mean,
to give
I
them.
remember in You know, like the classic like burger flipper spatula.
Hmm.
Like I remember learning in Gallardo's class that that was a turner because you turned the
Yep.
stuff with it. But then
Yeah.
like they're all kind like spatulas was like the umbrella, you know? And then you
Yeah.
had, like the turner and then you had the rubber spatula and then you had like the metal thin spatula for the cakes and stuff, which I still
Yeah.
offset
Yeah.
spatula too.
God. And then there's like, oh, what's the difference between a straight and then
Yeah.
I also inherited some really weird tools that I'm still trying to do some research on like what they're actually called. Like I have a bunch of like Filipino tools that I have no idea what the name is, and my mom can't remember it. So I'm going down the line of like asking every aunt, being like, "What do you call the doohickey thing?" Because I can't be like, "Hi, welcome to my informative blog. This is called a doohickey." Like so that's eventually gonna happen. I just also need to work on finding time to record all that when my dogs are not causing havoc or my HVAC system turning on at the worst time.
Yeah, mine does that.
Yeah. But
Do you have one of those tools around? I kind of want to see one.
oh, the Filipino ones are a weird one.
A weird one or both. A
Hold
weird
on.
Filipino one.
A weird Filipino one. I have to look for it. I don't know. Here's the thing. I also had my aunt. By the way, the island that you see here, it's actually a garage bench.
Dude, they make the best kitchen islands. Right now I'm on a workbench. I got at Home Depot and it's got a crank, so like it goes up and down. So like I can go up right now.
Oh my god.
Cool.
I don't know if I can find a weird Filipino doohickey one because also my aunt was living here with us for a little bit and has managed to mix my life around. But I do have this weird thingy that I think is a meat tenderizer, but I'm not quite sure. Also, sorry, I'm in pajamas, y'all. Surprise.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this thingy. I don't know if it's for aerating dough or meat, but it's pretty sharp and you just roll it.
Yeah, to me that looks like a docker for dough.
It could be a Docker. I found this in a 99-cent bin at an estate sale.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Does
no.
it just open? Does it open or it's one piece?
No, it's a one solid piece and it just does this little thing, which makes washing it gonna be interesting, but it's fine. Yeah, no, it was like kind of like on the bottom of a
It's
bin.
super sharp.
Yeah, they're sharp. Like this would suck if you actually like hit yourself with it, or like if it fell on the floor and you stepped on it for some weird reason. Yeah, this is very sharp.
Yeah,
Like
that's probably like like it looks like the one you would use for dough, but it's so sharp I would really think maybe it's for meat.
it could be a meat tenderizer, but I also feel like there's like no weight to this.
That's why it's so sharp, maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, once again, this is why I'm thinking about having this because also people, have also asked me like, how do you know which tool to go to?
Well, the thing is like it'll work for both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely will. But the thing is, it's just like people ask like, how do you know which tool to use in the kitchen for what purpose?
Well, I think my best advice for tools in the kitchen, never buy a tool that only does one thing.
Oh God, yeah, no, we're
Okay.
not we're not users here.
Yeah.
We're not. This is very sharp. I'm gonna put this down right here.
Most things most things that you buy like a gadget for, you can do it with a sharp knife, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Don't don't buy an avocado peeler.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot they have those. Or my favorite one is the herb strippers. The ones where you have to
Yeah.
like your fingers do the things.
Yeah. Or the even like an apple core, like you can use
Just
a knife.
cut the apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Fork.
Because those
Yeah.
are
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's like you're wasting money. It's gimmicky. Like even the that stupid thing where you put all your produce in and yes, chop it. It's like the You don't get, you don't even, is it called a slap chop or something? You
Something like
don't, you don't get even cuts. You don't get even dicing. Whoever said you do lied, because I don't know what video I was watching or what commercial that was. That was not the same product, because I tried it one time. I think I bought it for myself in grad school because I was like, oh my God, I'm studying all the time. I don't come in home until like 9 o'clock from all my classes. Let me try this. And I hated everything. I was like, why?
yeah.
It's not worth it. But yeah, those are the projects. What's aside from the podcast campaign you're on, what else is cooking in the kitchen for you?
Well, right now it's a lot more about what's going on outside. Um, I'm growing a lot of things. And yesterday, I got to do a video about it still. But finally, I'm growing these petunias that they're edible and they taste like cherries. So
Oh,
finally, yeah, one of them bloomed. And I've been doing like a lot of edible flowers recently just because I've been flying so much. And I'm like, these are like
low maintenance.
low maintenance and like they look pretty. They're gonna smell nice, even if I don't get to use them in the kitchen. But I'm really excited to like be able to try this out because I grew a borage, which are these tiny little blue flowers, and
Yeah, I've seen them.
yeah, they use them on like drinks and stuff and salads, and they taste like cucumbers. So yeah,
Oh,
so this one I'm like, okay, I didn't believe at first like that this flower would taste so much like a cucumber. So now I'm like really excited to taste this petunia to see how much it's going to taste like a cherry. So
all
that
right.
would be really cool. But
Yeah.
that and peppers and stuff. I'm gonna try to make my own hot sauce, speaking of fermenting.
Ooh,
But
nice.
I've been growing Tabascos and like a couple months ago, the water main broke right by
Oh,
like in between the two walls of like the apartment. So they
yeah.
had this like, the workers come out and then that was the day that I was like, the night before I was like, oh great, tomorrow I'm gonna go harvest my Tabascos. Somebody working on the water line took all my ripe Tabasco peppers.
What a douche
I saw,
canoe.
yeah, I saw all the like the boot marks and the dirt and stuff like coming up.
What a douche.
Oh,
What a
so
douche. I also hate to be a douche. We have to pause this for 5 seconds because my phone is threatening to shut off right now.
no problem.
It just started. Oh God, it just started raining. Hold on a second. So let me. Oh God, I hope my husband and the dogs are right. But let me be right back. You can pause this, but I'm gonna go get my charger. We're back at it. I have not been able to start my garden yet. The weather's just been
Yeah,
bad.
I think the best thing to do is start some seeds like on the windowsill inside. So
Yeah, I have my
I,
little seed starter, but I was like, because I wanted to try growing beets this year, but it
oh,
said sow in the ground when the risk of frost has gone, and I'm like, that hasn't happened yet, but we'll keep hoping.
when's the last frost date?
That's the thing. It's been wild weather. Like just now, it was sleeting.
Mm, last frost date.
And just last week, we had an 18-degree day. So it's like, I don't know. But I did start some stuff because I really want Brussels sprouts. I know it's a hard ask, but I really would love Brussels sprouts.
That's more like a fall crop, no?
You're supposed to start it like spring because by the time they're mature, it's fall.
Takes that long?
Yeah, apparently. No wonder why they're so expensive at the store too.
Yeah. Let's see. Last frost date. Not really saying like April 30th.
We still got 1 month. We
Yeah.
still have, so I did start some. I really want to do onions. I really want to do like I tried. Okay, so we also kind of live in a somewhat protected like swampland area. So I had deer eating the arugula, squirrels eating the arugula, rabbits eating the arugula. We also have skunks.
Oh my God.
And to piss me off even further, because I thought wild animals were my problem. No, it's my dog, the smaller black one. She apparently really likes tomatoes
I don't blame her.
and eating them off the vine.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so pissed off. I had planted several heirloom crops I was like really excited about. And then I was like, why are these all like half chomped? And they're like bigger than like average bites. They're not squirrels or rabbits or mice or whatever. They're like human sized bites. And I'm like, and then I got my confirmation. So when my dog would eat the tomato, she would ingest the seeds, shit in my lawn in the backyard, and then a tomato plant would start blooming. And we're like, all right, that's okay. I
That's
guess.
the natural way to do things, you know?
Yeah, because like Ryan's like was mowing the lawn. He's like, why is there a tomato plant in the middle of the yard? We had like 4 or 5 of those. I'm like, why are they here?
That's so
Yeah,
funny. You
the
gotta
fun
transplant them, you know?
yeah, just not where I need them. Oh, so fun fact, because my blog is all about allergy foods, I recently had to add 2 to the list and I'm really pissed off about them. Raw tomatoes,
Aw, man.
eggplants, that's also off.
So all nightshades or
If I can't eat French fries anymore, I'm going to scream. I've been very gracious. I've been very gracious about the food allergies I've developed over the years. Don't take away French fries and mashed potatoes from me. Don't do that.
what about maybe you could do sweet potatoes still.
Yeah, I guess. I
Not
mean, yeah,
technically a potato. So
yeah, technically. And then bananas just became my off limits to me also, which is really annoying.
what is going on? Oh my
I don't
God.
know. You know what? I really don't know. And at this point, I we could have literally had an hour of me discussing all my allergies, and that would have been your entire podcast, but that is it's extensive and it's irritating. And I feel like I am the nightmare of every chef walking into a restaurant when they ask you, like, do you have food allergies? That I feel like an ass. And I have to just pull out my phone and I'm like, yes,
All of them. What
here's all
about
the
have you been working with like an allergist or
yeah, I mean I've had the same one for almost like 20 something years already, and she's just like, you just have really shit luck. I'm sorry. I'm
have you
like,
tried so because I have a terrible shellfish allergy. Have you but so I'm always like looking at like the cutting edge like allergy like studies
yeah,
stuff because like there's got to be one day where like I don't like I can have like crab legs again, you know?
I know, because crab legs are delicious, oysters are delicious.
Yeah. So
Healthy.
there's a new study that came out, and I think they're using this technique. It's but just for peanut allergies right now, where they take
Oh,
the
the
poop
blingle.
of someone else and they
Oh,
it's like a fecal transplant into your
Jesus.
intestine and it changes your gut biome, which then turns on and off things in your like genes in your immune system or something and makes it so you're not allergic anymore.
As long as I don't have to eat the shit, I'll try it.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. Like you knock me out, you know, so I'm not awake for this and then
Or you're like, yeah, we'll just do something else. Like I just don't want to think about having somebody's actual shit in my mouth. I'm good on that one.
or, you know, I think they go the other way.
Yeah. God,
It's the intestine. But I think I wonder if like, you know, if they're doing that, what is it in the gut biome that is in the person that's allergic? Like what's missing or what is there too much of that would
well,
be triggering an allergy?
it's basically
You
it's
know?
the receptors. It's like something about the blockers. So fun fact, you have really bad allergies, you could technically take like Zantac or Pepsid. It's actually a secondary, not recommended by any doctor. Also, I'm not a doctor. Do not do this without asking a doctor. This is your disclaimer for all your followers listening. But when I had really bad allergies, I was actually on Zantac pretty regularly because it's a secondary receptor blocker for allergies.
So
Because you have,
that's the heartburn stuff, right?
yeah, yeah, famotidine, Raditine, one of those. Yeah, no, but I was on it for like 6 years while I was in high school, actually. Like all throughout like my tenure at Nutley, I was on it, and it worked because there are allergens that attack certain receptors in your body, which then triggers the immune response. So that's one, like, for example, my husband eats peanuts, which is also a problem when we go to restaurants. We're a fun time, let me tell you. We're a fantastic time between me and him. It's great. Um, yeah, for him it triggers all of his allergic responses, but for me, since I'm all seasonal allergies, that has not changed. So allergic to life, which is fine. It's fine. I'm okay with that. So yeah, by using like your primary blocker thing, like Zyrtec, Allegra, Claritin, like all that, but then also using the Pepcid or the Zantac in my case as a secondary blocker, it actually covers the rest of the receptors that are causing the allergic reaction in the first place.
Huh. Do you ever use like local honey to try to help with your allergies?
I have like a whole ass jar of bee pollen.
I don't find that the bee pollen helps me. I find the bee pollen makes it worse, but when it's like the bees process it into the honey, that actually helps.
Oh, well, I have both local. So my next door neighbor actually owns an apiary. That's the
Oh,
right word. Aviary. That's not the right word.
that's
Yeah.
birds.
Yeah. Like sound alike, but they're not alike.
Yeah.
No, they apiary. So I buy honey from them.
Cool.
And the beehives are located at a golf course, not even 2 miles from this house.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean I've been taking it, it's been like okay so far, but yeah, please don't. I'm really hoping potatoes holds out because I'm gonna be really pissed off. Because I really love French fries. I really love, mashed potatoes and
I
potato.
wonder how much of it too is like the you know, the changing of the plant itself over all these years, like to be
Oh,
more
that's true.
resistant and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
again,
no, that's a good
glyphosate.
that's a good point. Like we nowadays, like what potatoes and other produce was like 100 years ago is not the same product now
No.
by the longest stretch of the imagination. And so you have to think about like, what is that triggering? Because also I have a friend of mine who cannot eat any fruit at all. None. And it turns out he's actually allergic to the pesticide that they use in the orchards and in the places. And even if he aggressively washes it, like heck, I've seen the kid put apples in a bucket with like diluted bleach and food cleaner, and still he had a very violent Hy-Vee reaction. And we were like, oh shit, we should probably get you some Benadryl, buddy. Yeah.
Well, that's because they spray these plants with the pesticides and then it rains and then the roots soak it up and it's actually in the food.
Which is horrific. That's like horrifying to think about. And you're like, oh well. And that's probably why allergies are happening more and more. Like, I feel like allergies, I don't know if it's just because we weren't aware because we were like, what, 5? But I feel like there are so many more allergies now, or was it always there, but we just weren't aware of it and medical science hadn't caught up to it yet? That's always my question.
No, there were definitely less allergies before. But also another thing that they're looking into, because obviously correlation and causation aren't the same thing, but ever since they like the CDC makes a lot of recommendations about like what you should introduce your kid to, like so they're thinking maybe that they need to be introduced a little bit earlier than a year to some, foods and stuff to prevent getting the allergy, but they're still working on it. So, but
I
they're
just
the
not one of those.
what?
Honey is like a no-no for infants.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of things are, but it like in peanuts and stuff, they're saying that too. But they're seeing like I think it might have been the peanut example where they were showing like before they gave the advice about not giving peanuts for like under a year or something, whatever the age was, I don't remember. Um, before they gave that advice, the peanut allergy was actually a lot lower. And then when they start giving that advice in this graph, it spikes up, you know?
Oh my,
So, uh, they're still working on it, but some,
yeah, I'm
I don't,
not gonna go feed Ryan like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Be like, here, you're cured.
yeah, well, I think it's just if you challenge the kid's immune system earlier, it seems like it might work better.
That's weird though. Like, because Ryan's dad loves peanuts. He was cooking peanuts in like huge pots, and Ryan would be around them all the time, like the actual like peanut dust and things
Yeah.
from a baby. And then they only realized he was allergic to peanuts after his brother accidentally fed him like Filipino oxtail stew, kare kare, which core ingredient is peanut butter. And he started having a reaction, but poor Rich, he was just trying to be a good brother and feed his little
Yeah.
brother. Almost killed him, but it's fine. But yeah, no, it was just like weird. He's been exposed to peanuts all his life, so they have like no idea where it came from. But let me tell you, my husband loves Texas Roadhouse like nobody else. He loves Five Guys. Like,
Oh, I love Five Guys. The free
do you have a five?
peanuts. I do love Five Guys.
Do they have them down there or no?
It's not a lot. Like you gotta seek them out. You're gonna
Yeah.
eat fast food, which I rarely do. Five Guys.
Because the fries are delicious.
Well, and you go in there and you get some free peanuts while you wait, You feel like
Yeah,
you're kind of being healthy before you eat the hot dogs at Five Guys are really good.
yes, they're. I'm very upset the Five Guys by us just closed.
Yeah.
They just completely gone. We're like, what
Wow.
happened? What happened? I'm like, here's the thing. Ryan had to really chill out on having Five Guys because the peanut oil was like wrecking him. It was
Yeah.
like guaranteed bad evening afterwards, but he's like, it's totally worth it. And even with he's allergic to dairy. Like, who is that? Like, it's very interesting. I'm like, why are you allergic to dairy?
That could be another one with the processing of like, pumping these cows full of hormones and antibiotics and all that.
It could be,
Or
but
you
it's
could
just
just be lactose intolerant. I don't
no.
know. Oh, he's allergic, like,
We got him tested because I finally was sick and tired of it because he was like complaining every time he would have like ice cream or a milkshake or something like that, where like he just feel like crap and he looked like kind of hivey, and I'm like, I think you got to go to the allergist. So it like triggered an allergic response for dairy. So his days are numbered, but won't stop that kid from getting a milkshake.
I mean,
I mean, it's a milkshake. Come on.
milkshake. Did you
I'm
see that?
what's
Did
up?
you, so when I was just up in New Jersey, getting engaged.
Yeah.
But
That ring. Look at that ring. You've just been like heavily like
sparkly.
sparkly.
But the my friends were telling me that they're auctioning off the Sopranos booth from Holstein's.
Yeah, I looked at the bid. I don't know if it went up, but last time I checked, and it was like last week, maybe it was like $5,600.
That's cheaper than I thought. 5,600? That's it? 5,600?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unless they got into a bidding war with somebody who really loves The Sopranos.
I mean, there's so many of those people. There's got to be somebody.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they should have done it probably like 10 years ago, back when Sopranos was still like a commonly mentioned household name for shows. They
I
probably would have.
mean, in New Jersey, it still is. It will always be.
Yeah, I know, I know. The reputation of New Jersey. Yes, I know. Yeah, moving, I don't know about you when you moved to Miami, but when I lived in DC for a bit, people were like, "Do you say coffee?" I'm like, "No."
Oh my God. I do say coffee though. That's the problem.
You actually say I actually say like regular coffee, water. Because no, they expect me to sound like I'm from like Staten Island. I'm like, no, I'm just from like this like
Yeah, that is different. Coffee
you
is
know
not different, but it's funny because mine comes out more when I'm like, if you piss me off or if I'm really tired, like my
that
accent comes out a lot. And so a lot of times we'll be landing on the plane and I'll have to like do the announcement. So I'm just like so tired and I'll do the announcement and I'll hear myself over the speaker and I'll be like, I just start like laughing during the announcement because I'll hear myself like, don't get up till the seatbelt sign switched off. And I'm like, oh my God,
oh God.
where's the New Jersey diner waitress? Where is she?
Yeah, no, that's so funny. Yeah, no, it's same with me. When I get really pissed, it just comes out of me like nothing. Just it's just gone. It's gonna be weird though. I wonder what whole scenes is gonna look like because they said that they really are doing like they're doing a slight refresh, but also because the benches are literally like falling apart and people have like fallen out of them because the bench has broken. So it's
Yeah.
like a safety issue.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna keep that mural on the wall. Probably.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I haven't actually. Have I ever taken Ryan to whole scenes? I don't think so. Yeah, no, it was and it's crazy. I know. Did you get a chance to see like the Nutley main drag, like Franklin Ave? Like how many new stores there are now?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like there's a Filipino owned coffee shop right next to like the florist that's next to the middle school. And
I saw that Bagel Boy is like a taco place now or something.
yeah, they moved down to where the old Indian place used to be.
Yeah, yeah. Which is seems like a too big of a venue for a bagel store, but I guess not.
It,
I haven't gone
it's
in.
really big. Like I
Yeah.
went in recently because I had a doctor's appointment because allergist. My allergist is in Belleville, so I still drive there periodically. Yeah, it was huge. I was like, they have like two counters. I'm like, why? Like they have like a smoothie bar counter and then like bagels and
Oh,
all
that's
the other.
for all the high school kids going out to lunch. That's what that is.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I found out that that was not a regular thing to do.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I told Brian about it and he's like, "Wait, you guys got to go out for lunch?" I'm like, he's like, "We didn't get to do that until like senior year." I'm like, "Really? Like freshmen we just got our fucking money and, you know, walked
It's
to
sixth grade you started going out for lunch.
well, yeah. Oh, sixth
You
grade,
could
really?
get a permission slip signed like from it was like Wednesdays. It was like a one day of the week. Like you were allowed to go out for lunch.
Trial run. Make sure these sixth graders don't get lost.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that young though, but then again, I didn't go to Nutley until seventh grade, so I like missed that, you know.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was I think they still do it. But times have changed a lot since we were in school, they don't like
Yeah.
the I feel like you got less freedom.
Yeah, no, like I remember like you and I would both visit like Huggins like after school all the time.
Yeah. Do you know he
And
left? He's not there anymore?
oh man, I lost track of him. Like I really wish I could just be like, "Hey, like thanks for being an inspiration in my life for cooking. Here's my cooking blog to see all your efforts here."
Maybe I'll remember that. Actually, when so we got engaged at my friend's remember Lauren, but so her
Yep,
mom's house, she had a St. Patrick's Day
thing.
parade like party because it was the parade on March 2nd.
Hmm.
And so we went to we went to her house first, then we went to the parade, and then when I came back, like Noelle was there and proposed and
It
everything.
was so
And
cute.
it was so cute. But while we were there, so there's like because the parade is on, even though it was pouring rain and nobody was at the parade, everybody had like St. Patrick's Day parties that day because the parade was
Yeah.
that day. And So we were FaceTiming with Gabby's parents, and they were at a
Mhm.
St. Patrick's Day party, and Mr. Gallardo was there.
Oh my God. No way.
So we said hi to him and everything. He didn't remember who we were, but he was like, he was excited that two of his students,
Got
were
to.
engaged to each other.
Oh,
We were, we remembered him and everything.
yeah. That's really funny. He was there. It's really funny. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect like Huggins or Gallardo to remember us like clear as day because God knows it's been a decade. It's been like a literal actual decade.
Well, I
No,
mean, Hawkins, I think, remembers us because he was our class teacher person.
oh, that's right. He was
And he was on the podcast, so he remembers.
yeah, yes, was.
He
He does
was. But I
me.
guess I gotta have him back. I wonder what he's up to now, because I think he moved to Utah or something. He met a
It's
lady.
much cheaper than here.
Yeah, but he met a lady. He moved.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I wonder, I was like, does he still have that Supra? He probably sold it.
No, he probably has it. Come on.
No, those Supras are pricey now, especially with the modifications he put into it, because Supras are having like a resurgence of popularity. Yeah, he probably easy. He can get a pretty chunk of change because technically the year that he got it is now considered historical. So now he has like the historical money bump on his
Which is
Supra.
exactly why I don't think he would sell it, because he's a car guy and he probably likes to take it to car shows and be like, look at my Supra.
He told one time that if he really needed to, or once he had a kid, he would sell it for the money so that he would like put it away in like the kids like college fund or something.
I mean, maybe I'll have him on the podcast again just to ask him. You still
What
got
happened
that
to your
Supra?
this
Noel
is
can get started on that. He was in the car club for a little bit.
oh yeah. Actually I think I took Ryan to one of the car shows after we had just like started dating. And he's like, wow, this is actually like a really nice car show. He also was very jealous that we had like a metal workshop that had to get suspended because people kept making ninja stars.
I remember.
I'm like, what do you think is gonna happen when you give teenagers access to things that they can make weapons with?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, Nutley was interesting. I'm like kind of it's weird to see a change because every time I go there, it's like, holy God, what happened? Like, Santini's. That I don't think that's no, that's not there anymore.
That's not a bad thing. That was one of the places where, because I went to jujitsu like next door when
Oh
Jeff
yeah,
Jones was there,
yeah.
and so during the summer we'd have like summer camp, and then we would go to Santini's to get like pizza for lunch and go back in. You had to wipe your feet after you got out of Santini's because it was so dirty in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that pizza was also like I'm pretty sure it could run a car with how much oil it was pumping out.
Yes. Oh my God.
$1.75 slices. One slice of the greasiest pizza known to man with one can of whatever freaking soda you wanted. And it was the cheapest. And also, do you remember Green Jade, that old Chinese
Of
place?
course. That's where I
Because,
would get my crab legs before I was allergic to shellfish.
oh
All
my
you
God,
could eat. I would take like the whole thing of crab legs. And like I would have competitions with Joe Oliveri to see how much we could eat.
my God. Yeah, because like that was the only place. Ian, is they also had like one of the best lunch specials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, yeah, you filled it up with however much, and as long as the box stayed closed when they closed it, they just charged you like what $5 per pound of food, and you could come home with like 3 pounds of food. And then people got smart and started lining the takeout box with like lettuce, egg rolls to create like a structure so they could jam even more food in there.
I mean I always ate in though. That was they always had they had the ice cream machine, and they had
That's right. We had an ice cream machine.
every color of Jello known to man.
I think I ate like 3 times a week in there and then ate 2 times out.
Yeah.
Going to Burger King a lot.
I never went. I'm because I mean you had A&S right there. Like you had like the food on that street is so good.
Oh, the chicken parm
The
cutlet
chicken
sandwich.
parm color sandwich. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, Ryan doesn't understand. Like, we had so many good options for him because his high school was kind of located on a highway.
Ah,
It's not like it was walkable. Like, a friend of yours needed a car,
yeah,
somebody to drive.
yeah.
Well, it was a good, not like for me, it was like an interesting experience. Did I have like the best time there? I don't think so, to be honest with you.
No.
Um, I joke all the time that the only thing I got from Nutley, aside from my appreciation and education of cooking and some really good friends that I still talk to, you being one of them. So thank you for being one of the few beacons of joy from Nutley, is my high school diploma and several crippling mental health disorders.
Yeah, yeah. It was you know, definitely. I'm wondering how it is now. The bullying is
Oh God.
probably the same. Probably
Uh,
worse with the
yeah.
technology.
Well, I don't know. Well, actually, as of 2 years ago, I almost had to show up to a town event because these two high school girls were literally like in blackface and like making really nasty comments on like Snapchat and didn't think that somebody was not going to save their Snapchats and show it to the administration.
Yeah.
And the girls like only got like a reprimand and like a couple days detention. I don't even think they got suspended. So like that's like so things I'm hoping I always hope for, like the kids, you know, like Asian kids like me, like and other kids. I just hope that the bullying has gotten better because that just made Nutley like horrendous for me. Cause I got the me love you long time jokes a lot in class. I got the you know, does your dad cook dog and crap? And I'm like, yeah, so when people are like, how long have you been aware that you were not white? And I was like, pretty early.
Really early.
Pretty early. Pretty early. Like, but I do appreciate, Nutley for what it was. It was a high school. It gave me a sense of resilience. So now like whenever people make disparaging jokes about me, I'm like, all right, cool. Like you weren't as bad as like my high school bullies,
Yeah.
and also
Hopefully.
hypercritical parents, like try your best.
Right. Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's just, it's all cool. And, now I'm just doing my own thing. I found my own path, even though it wasn't culinary. And now I get to do this, thing for fun. I get to hang out with you for an afternoon while probably my husband is shivering his butt somewhere with the two dogs, you know. But, you know, I'm hoping that, I'll grow it to something where I don't want to be like, I mean, look, if I became viral, I think it'd be really cool. I think it'd be awesome.
Well, yeah,
But I also
everyone wants to make money doing something they love to do?
like if I can like make like a little chunk of change, like a little bit of a chunk of change,
Yeah.
just maybe like hell, an extra like $200 a month. I'd be like
That's
over
enough
the moon.
to support, enough to support like what you're doing on the blog? Like for me, I would love to be able to make like if I could make 2 grand a month, I'm not making any money, but like my goal is to make 2 grand a month, then I could
Yeah,
like just do this. That'd be
yeah, yeah. No, I think yeah, yeah. I think that'd be good. Then you can finally not have the 10-hour flights and not get paid when you're just sitting there in the plane looking at people. Like that'd
yeah,
be, you know,
that would be great.
that, that'd be no,
I
that'd be
mean, I
good.
do love being a flight attendant though. It is fun. I'm
Oh,
actually going to Thailand at the end of the month.
ooh,
So I'm probably going to see my friend G, who opened his own bake shop in
that's
Bangkok.
awesome.
So I'm going to bring my camera, try to film it, and then
Nice.
get out of there.
Have some fun, get some content. Peace out. Do
Exactly.
you get miles? Are you getting like a discount flight? Is that like a thing that you can do?
Yeah, we just got standby benefits with like other airlines pretty much like
Yeah.
2 years ago. But it's not like the American based companies have like a better system set up basically. Like for me, I have like Noel and two other people on my benefits, and that's it. Whereas like Spirit, it was like your spouse, your children, your parents, and then you got 12 one-way buddy passes to give out to whoever you wanted.
Jesus. That sounds like Delta also had like a very generous like
Well, that's like the standard. That's usually the standard for
uh,
everyone. But for us, it's different. But we just got, standby benefits with other airlines. So we can like go on each other's airline. Which is good, but also like if I go, like say I take like JetBlue to New Jersey or something, um, I'm on the standby list, but everybody like say I was like, oh, nobody's on standby. There's one seat open. I list for the standby, but then like a JetBlue flight attendant comes in and lists for the thing, she automatically goes ahead of me because she works right.
uh
So it's good as long as there's enough seats for everybody, you
uh
know? So we'll see.
yeah, because Thailand is that's a long flight.
Well, but that flight is our own flight. So then I would be the priority on the list. So that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, I mean I would love to go to Thailand. I would just also be really nervous to take Ryan along because everything is peanuts.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd li-
I have to
have
be careful with the shellfish too. Like I can barely eat any of the street food.
that's right. Wait, can you do fish sauce?
Not a lot of the
Well,
times. I really have to like know what the ingredients are, which is hard. Because sometimes they use like oyster stuff and
yeah, yeah, oyster sauce. Yeah. I have a friend who's like one of my core four people for the Thursday night dinner series who has like a severe shellfish thing.
yeah.
So I had to get vegetarian oyster sauce, which doesn't taste quite the same, but it will do in a recipe. But I do it because I don't want to kill her.
That's nice. Yeah.
Having her around, she's a really good friend of mine. She was one of my bridesmaids at our wedding. I like having her around, so I make those concessions. Also, people are just impressed that have started to remember people's allergies.
Yeah.
So big posting so often, I'm like, you're allergic to this, you're allergic to that, you can't eat that, you can only eat like a bite of that. All right, let's do this.
What's your favorite thing that you've made at your dinner so far?
Ooh, favorite things I've made at my dinner. Definitely like the Lunar New Year one, though. That was probably one of my most like stressful cooks, just because having like seven things go at one time is like wild. But I made this really fantastic crunchy skinned pork belly. It was so good. It was so good. And also the first time I attempted beef bourguignon, that went really well.
That's a good
So,
one.
yep. But to answer people's questions, because they're like, oh my God, it's made with wine. I thought you're allergic to alcohol. And I'm like, it cooks so long in the damn oven that all traces of alcohol are removed. You have to cook it at like, I think 350 degrees for like 45 minutes. And that's basically your standard. That's like half the time of a beef bourguignon.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't do flambés because not all of it cooks out, or anything with that's dipped in rum. Can't do that either.
I
So
mean,
no rum.
most of the, if you flambe with like if you deglaze with wine and then you cook it a little bit longer, it's gonna be out of there, you know?
Yeah, I just have had some bad experiences with flambés at restaurants because I think they're like
Oh yeah,
rushing.
they're rushing. They don't give a shit. Especially if you get like bananas Foster or something, they're not cooking all the alcohol out of that.
My aunt got that, and I tried a little bit because I was like, I think it should be cooked down. And I like immediately spat it out to the horror of the waiter who was doing this, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought the alcohol was cooked out of this. Also, I had a run-in um in a New York restaurant who put brandied cherries in my mocktail. And I'm like, yeah, that was not fun because I like basically bit into the cherry, not thinking of it, and I got like a straight shot of brandy to the throat. And I'm like, oh, well then, this is gonna be a fun night. We almost had to call the ambulance. I got a personal apology from the general manager the next day. He was like, "Are you alive?" I think it was more like, "Are you gonna sue us?"
Yeah, of course.
But otherwise, hey, we're just doing our thing. I'm trying to be more consistent with the cooking blogs. I actually have a really exciting one coming up. There is a chocolate and coffee factory in the Poconos. Fun fact. Out of nowhere, there is a single origin, fair trade, organic, the whole like shabazz coffee and chocolate place in the Poconos called Mocha. And it's really good. And for every bar you buy, they actually give like a farmer like a little plot of land and
That's
pay them above
awesome.
trade
That's
price.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, all right, cool. But I'm gonna post that up soon, and then I'm going to be resuming the Thursday dinner series. I was just away on vacation. I was like, you know what? I'm too busy packing. We're just gonna thank God for late posting. Thank God for scheduled posts. I just wish you could do it on Facebook because like you can't do the Facebook like real posting and Instagram for whatever reason. I'm like, that's stupid. You're both owned by the same company.
It is so stupid. That bothers me all the time.
Yeah, just because like also half my audience is on Facebook because it's mostly comprised of like my 6 bajillion cousins that like to watch. So I'm like losing views also. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pain in the butt.
Come on, Meta. Come on, Facebook.
Not
Let's
matter.
let's 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 get with it.
Yeah,
Also,
and
the
now
spot
they've like put together like the Facebook Messenger and the Instagram Messenger.
is that Threads?
No, no, that's like their version of Twitter.
Oh my God.
I don't
Now,
really.
have you heard of Laps?
No.
It's a new one. It's kind of like Snapchatty-ish, but like it's a delayed posting. So like you recorded content, but then it sits in your like dark room for a little bit, and then you're able to view it and post it or archive it. So it's like a interactive photo album.
Hmm.
I have one for the Humble Bubble Chef. I have not used it that well because I like accidentally archived half the shit I was trying to post anyways. I'm just like, just
Is it like a third party poster or something?
no, it's like own app. And I'm like,
Oh,
I have no idea who owns it, but apparently it's like the latest. It's like the hottest thing since Snapchat was a thing.
okay.
You know.
Yeah, I was on Snapchat for like when it first came out, and then I'm so bad with the
I
technology.
know. It's not bad. It's just there's so many things coming around. And that's why we're circling this whole conversation back to my 11-year-old, my friend's 11-year-old son, who was like, my first console was the Wii. And I'm used to like, and I'm used to having all this, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea how good you have it right now.
Yeah, my nephew just turned 12, and he when we took him to his Noel's sister's kid, so they came to visit Florida, and we took him over to
Oh,
my mom's house maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And my mom like loves like antique furniture and stuff like that. So he comes over and he sees she had like an old school rotary phone.
oh, I love
And he goes, "Mom, what museum is this?"
ah! Oh, oh God, no.
Oh my God. And then it was perfect. Like right at the moment the grandfather clock starts chiming. So
You're
funny.
You're like, kid, you have no idea what we've been through. It's like wild to think that, we were kids and the computer just literally became mainstream. Now we're doing this podcast on Zoom, which didn't even exist like 5 years ago, or maybe it did exist, but now everybody knows what to do with Zoom. And we're doing this on smartphones, and we have like good quality recording.
And remember, like I remember going to the Liberty Science Center for the first time and seeing touchscreen technology. And it
Yeah.
was like the computer, and it was like some kind of like thick, like plastic that had been like poked so many times, like it was all like like wobbly, wavy.
Oh my God.
And you're like, oh, it moves.
Yeah, like that's crazy
I
thing.
clicked on it without a mouse.
I know. Oh God, remember? Do you remember the computer classes we had to do at Franklin Middle School with those ancient Macintoshes?
Do you remember learning how to type on an Alpha Smart?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I haven't thought about that. That's a core memory unlocked there. Oh my God. Yeah. That's that's a thing. Like, you know, people don't even know that the save icon, well, now they changed it because apparently like floppy disks were getting lost on people. But I was like, that used to be a real thing. Now people are just like, oh, that's a save icon. I'm like, no, this used to be a real damn thing. And they're like, how much can you put on it? I'm like, not much.
Not
Like
much.
two papers,
You're,
two papers,
you know,
couple pictures.
if it
Like,
were,
and that's also the crazy thing too, is because now what used to be kind of relegated to region and stuff. Now, like for example, if I want to look up a recipe from the Ivory Coast, I have internet access to look up like multiple versions of a recipe.
it's made the world so much smaller. It's crazy. But it's great because like you wouldn't you wouldn't even like dream of some of the stuff that's out there, you know?
Yeah,
Like
like
when you get to, if you can't go anywhere, like if you can't just, become an international flight attendant and go there, like you can
yeah,
still experience the thing.
or be like an uber rich like food blogger that can go travel the world and do things like Andrew Zimmerman or whatever,
Yeah.
whoever is doing stuff now. Like that's the cool thing. That's the really awesome thing. Like I made makluba for the first time.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, fun time. Random food time. I made makluba. It is a Middle Eastern dish, but primarily served in Palestine, Lebanon, like that section of the world.
Okay.
And it is baked rice casserole. I mean, that's the easiest way, but it's layered. So like the bottom of it is actually your chicken or your lamb. It's more traditional lamb, Middle Eastern. They love the lamb. I just can't do it because I have people that don't like lamb, but whatever. And then you layer rice and you have like literally deep fried vegetables in it also, like deep fried potatoes and carrots and things. And the miracle of the whole thing is that it cooks. You bake it in the oven, or you bake it on your, or you have it on your like stove for like 2 hours or whatever, and then you're supposed to flip over the whole dang thing onto a tray, and it's supposed to show this like beautiful layered dish of like chicken, vegetables, rice, and it's like super fragrant. I needed to add more salt on mine, but it was a. I'm just stupid. I made it in my heaviest pot, and I had to ask Ryan to like help me. I made it in my freaking Le Creuset Dutch oven. Do you know how much that crap weighs?
Yes, but I'm sure the cooking was like nice and even. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, it was. People also think I'm absolutely nuts for going crazy for Le Creuset, but it's a good line. It's a good product.
I mean, you only need one. Like it'll last
Uh,
you a couple generations if you take care of it.
well,
You
about
got the
that.
whole line.
Yeah,
Like
like
you got the whole line.
I literally have stainless steel bowls from Le Creuset. I have
Oh, I
three.
thought you were just talking about the
Oh,
Dutch
I
oven.
have
Everything.
like hi Le Creuset. I would like to be sponsored. Please, please sponsor me because I can't afford your stuff. I also literally have a stainless steel serving bowl one here. More ceramic stuff. I have one Dutch oven, and then I have like two or three cast iron pots, like not pans for grilling and searing. And I also came into a person whose mom was doing an estate sale, and I grabbed almost like $300 worth of Le Creuset items and resold a lot of them for about the same price.
Oh yeah. But they last forever. And people collect them and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's definitely a market for
So,
people.
fun fact: if you ever want to get into the game, Le Creuset is making a thing. It's like making a comeback. I don't know why. It's
Pandemic.
like weird.
It's like, it's offshoot from the pandemic. Everyone was like, oh shit, I need to learn how to cook.
Can't go to the grocery store, or you can't really do takeout, or like your favorite restaurant's closed. That's true. I kind of oh god, remember the first like 6 months? It was like a bread thing.
Oh yeah, that was one of my first videos was sourdough because everyone was making it. And I was like, all right.
Can't do it. I can't do it, Grace. I can't do it. I don't have like I barely remember to water my damn plants. Like I can't remember to take care of a starter.
But that's what bothered me. That's what like inspired me to make the video is that people were like being snobby about like feeding their starter and like as if people that didn't feed their starter all the time were like neglecting a child, like they were being like so uppity about it. And the truth is like I've let my starter like go like like a month or more without feeding it. And then like you get some of it dies, but like you scrape the top layer off. That's all gross. And like, you check it and you make sure it smells okay. And then you just feed it.
Yeah, you know what? I think I might try and go for it because I really love sourdough.
And you always like when you get it going and you're like, okay, the sour's good, you just take a little bit of it and you throw it in the freezer in case you really kill it, and then you have something to start off with.
Ah,
Some
I mean,
people dehydrate it, but I think, just throw some in the freezer.
dehydrating takes a long time. Also,
Yeah,
you need to like a I tried dehydrating stuff in my oven, but I think all it did was increase my utilities for that month.
yeah, you need a dehydrator if you're really gonna like
Things.
do stuff.
Yeah. So fun fact, the Breville that's off camera. I realize you can't see that. It actually has a dehydrator function. I have not used it yet.
I got an Excalibur dehydrator because I use it mostly for herbs. I
Mm,
um
yes, I did see that. I did see
yeah,
that. I did see that in your
usually
videos
hang
also.
them, but the like I usually hang them on this board, but like Cuban oregano it's almost like aloe, like it's like slimy. So if you
Oh,
don't, yeah, so if it's not like Florida is very humid, so it's more likely that it's gonna like get moldy before it dries out. So that's what I'll use the dehydrator for most of the time.
got it, got it. That's good to know. Thank you for reminding me. I have some sage that I probably should take care of and, jar and because it's been literally in like a closet for like a month and a half.
Well,
And it doesn't have mold.
it looks pretty though. Yeah, that's good. It's so dry up there too. That's why, like, it's
Yeah.
easy. But sage is, it looks pretty when it's dry. You look like
Yeah.
potions and stuff.
Like, I'm making a concoction. I'm
Yeah,
making a potion and
I
I'm gonna
love
have a
it.
bowl with it.
I was
Yeah.
just making some mint tea last night from like the garden. And like I did like mint and ginger and like lemon peel and stuff. And I was like,
All right, you fancy.
I'm making a potion right now.
What is cooking but not elevated or slightly fancy witchcraft?
Exactly.
We're putting crap into a pot, cooking it over an open fire, praying to some deity that it comes out okay, and ingesting it.
I think, yeah, like Crusade probably makes a cauldron, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I really should stop collecting, like you say. Also, I have a very bad addiction of collecting KitchenAid mixers.
Yo,
I have three. There's no reason.
wow.
So I have the in the back here is like my professional one that
I
has
have
like the
that one. I see it. I have that
yeah,
one. Same color.
yeah, well, cause you know what?
Circular.
And then I have my like classic one, like the one that we had at high school,
I
like
don't
the
like that one. The forecourt with the head that moves up.
mm,
Yeah, I don't like that one. It's too small. I don't like the rotating bowl, like trying to get it in, and I don't like the I just don't like that the head moves up. I'd rather have the
the little
crank.
cranky.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss the tilt head just because sometimes when I'm like adding ingredients, even though I have like a actual KitchenAid chute that I just throw stuff in, I still like feel like I'm missing some stuff or I'm like spilling everywhere. And then I actually have the same exact KitchenAid mixer that is on your shelf behind you. I need to find for it though. I need
Find
to
what?
find like the bowl that goes with it.
Oh,
So,
there you could get a replacement bowl. It's the same bowl as the one you have there, the six
oh,
quart.
oh,
I
all
use
right.
them interchangeably, but
Oh,
there's a guy that I interviewed a long time ago. I gotta have him back on, Mr. Mixer. He could,
oh yeah, I told you about him. I was
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
oh,
So
he's such a
you get the thing with you put it on the screw behind
yeah.
so it stays. I gotta get one because I just noticed my paddle, the enamel chipped a little bit. And I was
I
like,
know.
oh,
I know. They're just not making them as good as they used to. Like, did you see that KitchenAid had like a warning that says you can't like have the motor running longer than 5 minutes? Yeah, because like it was like actually burning out the systems, like burning out the engine in it or the motor. Yeah, there was like new recommendations recently like released by KitchenAid, and I was like, the hell is this? Like, there's some crap that you need to like by like if you're making, I don't know why you would, but I have. I don't know why I'm saying why would somebody, because I've done it. Like making butter, for example.
yeah.
You're gonna be using that sucker for 20 minutes straight.
Oh, for more. Even when you make buttercream, sometimes it breaks and you're like, I'll just let it whip longer, you know?
Yeah, it'll come back. It'll come back,
Or when
But
you
yeah,
make bread.
about it, saying like, you're only allowed to like really go in 5 minute bursts at high speed. But I was like, what happens to all your bread recipes then? Because a lot of them require like a 10 minute knead, a 15 minute knead,
Yeah,
like
but you don't go over um the
not over,
second gear.
no. So it's just like, because he kind of gave like examples of like bread and like other stuff. And I was like, really? What's the thing? But yeah, I found that other KitchenAid mixer on the side of a road. Like somebody was trying
Okay,
to throw.
that's worth it. That's worth picking that up.
Yeah, let me tell you, I had to walk 3 blocks from where I found it to my house. And it was like the worst walk ever because that thing is
That's heavy.
huge. Yeah, I was like, it can't be that heavy. I have 2 of them. Lifted, I was like, oh shit. So I like bear hugged that sucker and I was like running home with it. I probably look like a nut job to somebody like walking, like just this like fucking random person just like on the street carrying it because it was like on the side of the road next to their garbage can. So hey, if it's by the curb, it's for me.
Yeah, that is a good find.
Yeah, and it actually works. So I don't
What
know why
color?
it's also the same color. It's like the white
White?
one.
The
So
white one?
yeah,
Wow.
same exact color. So we have match. We have 2 matching mixers. That's great.
That's funny.
Oh God. So I unfortunately do have to get going because my husband's like, I'm freezing. Can I come home? So you can stop recording, but I can tell him to come home. At least you can say hi to him before you have to sign off.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Chef Grace's Place.